CBC presents a new series of chills and thrills, of mystery and adventure, old and new, tales of the supernatural and the unforeseen, of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. To the master among storytellers, we bow as we bring you The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, in radio version by Len Peterson.
Nervous, very dreadfully nervous I have been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease has sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all, my sense of hearing. I heard all things in the heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. Now then, am I mad? Listen how calmly I can tell you the whole story. I was wandering on my way to nowhere, away from... that's my secret. We all have secrets. And I came to the old man's place on the edge of this town and asked for a dipper of water.
There you are, fella. Best spring water around here.
It's good and cold. I needed that.
Shall I fill the dipper again?
Yeah, thanks. I could drink another.
Have you come far?
Yes, far.
Much farther to go?
Don't know.
You're thin, fella. The sun's burnt your skin to bark. Here. Well, no, don't drown yourself drinking it.
Yeah, that's good.
I should give you something solid. A meal. I eat late after the chores, if you don't mind waiting.
Oh, I'm used to long waits for meals. I'll give you a hand.
No need.
Well, I'm not afraid to work for a meal.
All right, if you wish.
Yeah, it'll feel good to have a hay fork in my hands again.
I've been needing a man around here.
You do? Need a man?
Oh, now, I can do a full day's work, but toward night it gets heavy. Still, with a wife dead and buried last winter, and 3 daughters married and gone to their husband's farm, and 2 sons off to seek more than this small farm can promise, a man needs work to keep his thoughts from growing heavy.
Yes, I know.
What's your name?
Alfred Bain.
Weatherby's mine. The pigs and chickens haven't been fed, nor the team. I got 6 cows to milk, and the 7th freshening shortly. Well, come along to the barn.
I stayed on and worked for the old man. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object there was none, passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. For his money, I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, that's it. It was. He had the eye of a vulture. His left eye, a pale blue eye with a film over it.
Now, shall we cut hay tomorrow, Alfred?
Hay? Yes, we can cut hay. But doesn't the sky say rain?
No, that's not a rain sky for around here.
Oh, it is where I come from.
It'll clear by morning. I can feel rain when it's on the way. I have a way of feeling what's ahead.
Do you?
Yeah.
What's ahead? What is? No, I don't want to know. And you can't know everything.
Far from it.
The weather's enough.
Go sharpen the size.
Whenever his pale blue eye fell on me, my blood ran cold. And so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man and thus rid myself of the eye forever. It was an evil eye. But Weatherby was very kind to me. No one had been this kind. It was too much to bear. You fancy me mad. Madmen know nothing. But you should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight, with what dissimulation I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than during the week before I killed him.
Here, let me carry those collars and harnesses, Mr. Weatherby. I'll hook up the team for you.
No, why should you?
Yes, let me. Here, let go the traces.
You've more than earned your keep today, and your wages.
But not your kindness.
How else should one treat a hired man? My son thought I was a tyrant.
You a tyrant?
Perhaps I do treat you better than I treated the boys. Now, that's strange.
Why do you?
I don't know. Because you're not afraid of work. My sons thought they were too clever to work. But I didn't treat them so badly.
Some people should be treated badly.
Scoundrels? I've never met a real scoundrel.
Some innocent people should be treated badly, too.
Oh, what an idea.
They should be treated the worst of all.
Now, why do you say that, Alfred?
Isn't that the way life is?
Toss that line over. I'll snap the buckle on here. I'm not an invalid, Alfred. I'm not that old yet.
Well, I'd hate to see you an invalid. I wouldn't want that for you.
Nor I.
I'd like to do something for you that you would like, Mr. Weatherby.
Oh, what for?
You admired this knife. Could I give you this knife?
No. Keep it. No reason you should give it to me.
Well, I've been insulted by people I respected. You haven't insulted me yet.
Why should I? I must get on to the elders' meeting.
Horses all hooked up. Up you go.
How did I manage without you, Alfred?
Get up.
I hope I persuaded you to stay on.
Every night about midnight, I turned the latch of Weatherby's chamber door and opened it, ever so gently. When I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in the lantern all closed, so that no light shone out, and then I thrust in my head. When I was well in the room, I opened the lantern cautiously, oh, so cautiously, just enough to let a single thin ray fall upon the vulture eye. This I did for 7 nights, every night just at midnight, but I found the eye always closed, so it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning when the day broke, I went boldly into the chamber and spoke courageously to him.
Good morning, sir. Do you want the shutters open?
What manner of day is it?
Oh, it's a fine day. A warm sun, a little breeze from the east.
Yes, open the shutter.
You slept well?
Yes, I slept well.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. Do we start repairing the stone walls of the Westfield this morning?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah. Well, the porridge is ready and the coffee.
Hand me my boots.
Oh, sure. Here you are, sir.
Alfred, I don't understand you.
Understand me?
A hard-working, reliable man like you drifting about. My back. I am an old man, I fear. I haven't long, I feel.
You're not feeling up to yourself today?
Oh, I don't know. More than likely it was only a bad dream that left me liverish.
What did you dream?
Oh, it's gone now. You know, it's good to have you around, Alfred. When Amelia went to her rest last winter, I was willing to go to mine, but lately her face has grown vague to me. We had a long life together, she and I, and it was good. Till these last few years when some mold crept in. What am I waiting for? I wish I knew.
Breakfast! Get up and everything will look different.
Oh, it's easy to make the days look different, but the nights are always the same. Always the same.
On the 8th day, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. I could scarcely contain my feeling of triumph to think that there I was, opening the door little by little, and he not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved on the bed suddenly as if startled. And now you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch. I knew he could not see the opening of the door. I kept pushing it on steadily. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern.
Who's there? Who's there?
I kept still and said nothing. For a whole hour I did not move a muscle. I did not hear him lie down. No, he sat up in bed, listening. Just as I had done night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall. It was not groan, nor pain, nor grief the old man made. Oh, no. It was the low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul, a groan of mortal terror. I knew the sound well. Many a night when all the world slept, it had welled up from my own bosom, deepening with its dreadful echo the terrors that distracted me. I knew what the old man felt and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart.
Is it the wind? No. There's no one. What is it? Who's there? There's nothing to see or to hear. But I feel a presence. I've known you were coming for me. Death. The dark shadow. It's the wrong time. Before the crops are in. While I've still some business to arrange with people in the town. My house is not in order. Do not surround me this way.
I opened a very, very little crevice in the lantern. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until a single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot from the crevice and fell full upon the vulture eye. It was open, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. All dull blue, with a hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow of my bones. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the ray, as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. Have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses? Now there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I knew that sound well. It was the beat of the old man's heart. It increased my fury as the beating of a drum stimulates the soldier into courage.
Why do you wait, Death? Why do you wait? You didn't hesitate with Amelia. She had a shawl half knitted. I have much half done, and less than half.
I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. I tried how steadily I could maintain the ray upon the eye. Meanwhile, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker and louder every instant. The old man's terror must have been extreme. I have told you that I am nervous. So I am. And now, at the dead hour of the night, amid the dreadful silence of that old house, so strange a noise as this excited me to uncontrollable terror. Yet, for some minutes longer, I refrained and stood still. The beating grew louder. I thought the heart must burst, and a new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! What? Go away! Go! No!
I threw open the lantern and dragged him to the floor. I pulled the heavy bed over him. For many minutes, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. At length it stopped. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stone dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. Oh, if you still think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I then took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. I replaced the board so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot whatever. I had been too wary for that. A tub had caught Hall. Old man under the planks, you were a good man. If I could have plucked out the evil eye without killing you, that is what I would have done. Don't think badly of me, Mr. Weatherby. I did you a good turn, too, ridding you of that evil eye. If I've done any wrong, it's because of that evil eye looking at me, giving me thoughts no man should have. But I haven't done wrong. I've done good, a great deal of good, and everything is just... Who? At the door? At 4 a.m? But what have I now to fear? Nothing. The eye is closed and the heart is still.
Sorry to bother you at this hour.
Yes?
We're officers of the town's night watch.
Oh, is something the matter?
We would like to speak to Mr. Weatherby.
Mr. Weatherby, you would like to speak to... but he's not here.
Where is he?
The old gentleman has gone visiting in the country.
Oh? Where?
Well, that he didn't say when he left. Perhaps to one of his daughters. But he didn't say.
His buggy is in the yard, and his horse is in the barn.
Oh, yes. Well, he took a ride with some friends of his who were traveling the same way.
What friends?
Well, that I don't know. I don't know all his friends. Mr. Weatherby has so many.
Uh-huh. You're his hired man?
Yes.
Yes, I've seen him around the town. What brought you here?
A rainbow.
What's that?
Well, isn't everybody looking for a rainbow?
One of the neighbors heard a shriek that sounded like trouble and came to the police office to tell us about it. We've been ordered to investigate.
And search the house.
The shriek. Oh, yes. Oh, the shriek was from a dream, a nightmare I was having. I dreamt the light from a lantern was shining in my eyes. Oh, but do come in. Mr. Weatherby will be pleased to learn the police give him such good protection. He has some valuable plate and coins in his cupboards. Come in.
All right. How come you're dressed already?
Dressed? Oh, I start my chore soon.
Your name is Alfred?
Alfred what?
Bain, Alfred Bain. Go ahead, search anywhere. Go ahead. Well, I don't know what you're looking for or what you expect. Robbers? Oh, then you must make a careful search. Let me show you Mr. Weatherby's treasures. Perhaps you would like to see his chamber, too? Come with me. I'll show you. I'd hate to have trouble here while Mr. Weatherby's away.
There's nothing wrong here.
Oh, everything seems in order.
Well, I am very glad you came and looked around. Is there anywhere else you wish to look?
No, I think not.
Well, sit down. Oh, don't go yet. Rest yourselves. Hey, look, sit here. And here. I'll fetch a chair for myself. How well you've done your duty. I must commend you. Oh, no, the light of that lamp will be in my eyes there. I'll put my chair here. Well, how fine it must be working as police officers, protecting the townspeople from theft and robbery and violence.
No, it's a living.
I've often wanted to be a police officer.
Have you? Well,
my senses are very acute. I hear the most minute sounds around me. I am very sensitive to everything. Perhaps I shall still end up a police officer. That will suit me admirably.
when will Mr. Weatherby be returning?
Oh, well, I don't know. Shortly, I hope. There's the oats to cut if this hot sun stays with us.
Yes, the crops are good this year hereabouts.
Yeah, excellent. Mr. Weatherby is very pleased with his. He He says I brought him luck.
A hired man does that sometimes.
Oh, but I cannot take credit for that.
Mr. Weatherby speaks well of you, I hear.
Does he? Does he?
And Weatherby in the past has been hard to please. Here, have a pipe full of tobacco from my pouch.
Oh, no.
Please do.
Well, thank you.
We're not supposed to smoke on duty.
But the full watch without a pipe is a long time.
We'll have to trust you not to inform the captain, huh?
The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was at ease, with my chair upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers sat and chatted of familiar things, but ere long I felt myself getting pale and wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears, but still they sat and chatted. The ringing became more distinct. It continued and became more distant.
Yes, the new street lamps in the town have made our job a little easier, more pleasant, especially on the very dark nights.
But I'm sure, but out here at the edge of town there are not many lamps, and there should be more, several more at least.
Oh, someday.
People are always stumbling into holes and hurting themselves. One day someone will break a leg.
But these things take time.
Town has come a long way.
Indeed.
Yes, I like this town. I hope I can settle here.
Well, why not?
Yes, well, why not?
Mr. Weatherby certainly needs a good man. He's growing too old to do much of the work around here himself.
That's exactly what I feel, exactly. Mr. Weatherby needs someone, and why not me?
Yeah. He and his sons couldn't get along, you know. Oh, the fighting that went on.
A difficult man.
I don't understand that. He and I never had an argument. We've gotten along very well, scarcely a cross word.
Well, you must be a rare fellow.
No, it is Mr. Weatherby who is the exceptional man.
Well, he's had his troubles. His whole family leaving him, his wife dying, and the aches and pains of old age, and losing the sight of his left eye.
His left eye? He is blind in that left eye?
You didn't know?
No, I did not.
That's why it stares that way, and sometimes wanders on its own.
He can't see out of it? His left eye?
Not a speck.
No doubt I grew very pale. I realized the noise was not within my ears. It increased. It was a low, dull, quick sound. Such a sound as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath. I talked more quickly, more vehemently, but the noise steadily increased. I arose and argued about trifles in a high key and with violent gestures. Why would they not be gone, those officers? I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, as if excited to fury by the observations of the men, but the noise steadily increased.
Sit down, Mr. Bain, sit down. I'm not going to argue with you over which line of thoroughbred has produced the better horse.
No, don't give in. Argue with me.
Argue? What?
You made a statement, and now you won't stand by it. You won't back it up.
For my life, I can't remember what the statement was I made that started this whole thing.
Nor can I.
The two of you. Then I'm being made a fool of.
No. We're simply talking. Can't we talk?
Talk, yes, talk. Say anything you like. And I won't disagree with you. I can be as sociable as anyone and agree, no matter what is said. You do not need to convince me either. What do you wish to say?
Oh, come now. One doesn't go and talk as baldly as that. One slips into it. I like to talk and slide into it of its own accord, don't you?
Do I?
Yeah, I don't like talk that's too careful either, or touchy. Easy talk is what I like.
Yeah, easy talk. And a fire and smoke.
Oh, stop it, this chatter. And the smiles, those smiles, yours and yours. Is it possible you don't hear that?
Hear what?
Listen to it. Louder.
What?
You hear, both of you. You suspect. You know. You are making a mockery of my horror. I cannot bear your hypocritical smiles any longer. I must scream or die.
What has taken hold of you, man?
What is wrong with you?
Villains, no more pretense. I admit the deed. Tear off the planks. Here. It is the beating of his hideous heart. It has stopped.
Here, let's see what's under those planks.
It has
The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, adapted for radio by Len Peterson, was our introduction to a new series of tales of mystery, suspense, and adventure, chills and thrills from the world of the supernatural. In the cast, Claude Ray as Alfred Bain, Douglas Master as Mr. Weatherby, with Murray Westgate and Cease Montgomery as the two police officers. Sound effects were by John Sliz. Technical operation, John Skillen. The Telltale Heart was a CBC Toronto production. Don Sims speaking.
Now is the time to tell of the unaccountable, of apparitions by night and phantoms in shadow. Time to tell strange tales of fantasy and the supernatural. Mystery Theater presents The Hitchhiker by Alan King.
The stretch of road between Bainville and Bowden is about 15 miles. I used to drive over it about once a month.
By Alan King.
The stretch of road between Bainville and Bowden is about 15 miles. I used to drive over it about once a month with George Kirby. George was supervisor for the J.K. Land and Land Company, and we used to make a monthly inspection trip over his territory. We usually worked it so that we ran into Bowden at night. It isn't a big town, but there's a good hotel there, and we could always make it back to our hometown before dark the next day. We would take turns driving. When George was driving, sometimes I'd sit with him. If I was pretty tired, maybe I'd move into the back seat and sleep for a while. This particular night, about 6 months ago, he was driving and I was sitting in the front. It was a poor sort of night. It had been raining, and there were patches of mist that came at you when you least expected them. I'd been telling George about a farmer I'd met. This'll kill you. The guy looks me right in the eye and says, "Boy, you won't sell me one of those things. I invented one myself 10 years ago."
Did you see it work?
Sure, he showed me. You should have heard the noise. Sounded more like a young threshing machine.
You gotta hand it to those farmers. You know, those guys can make anything and fix anything. Well, I remember one once in Indiana someplace.
George,
Yeah, what?
look out! There's someone in the...
Where? Oh, my God.
Come on, quick.
Where is he?
He must be underneath.
I hit him, I know that. Yeah, he's underneath. Looks like he's wedged under the crankcase or something.
Well, is he alive?
I don't know. Are you hurt badly? Can you move? He must be knocked out. Now, wait, I see.
His legs are clear.
I think we can get him out. Tell you what, Sam. Get in. Put the car below then. Ease her forward when I tell you.
Okay, George.
But easy, Sam. Go very, very slow.
We got him out. I'm not sure if he was alive. His face was all mucked up with gravel and oil. But he was dead when we got to Bowden. We talked to the police. There was an inquest later. George wasn't held. It was an accident. George Kirby and I went about our business.
I'm Larry Mason. I'm a salesman. I drive that stretch of road between Bainville and Bowden once a week. In one place you come to a curve where there's a sort of ravine on one side and quite a drop on the other. It's not dangerous. There's a good, strong guardrail, clearly marked. The locals just call it the Gap. This night, a few weeks ago, I was driving alone, just coming to the gap, when I saw somebody ahead of me at the side of the road. It was a man giving me the thumb. I pulled up and opened the door. Want a lift?
Thank you.
Come on in. Going down to Bowden?
Yes.
Be there in 10 minutes. Don't often see anybody around here at night. A cigarette?
No. Thank you.
Think I'll have one.
Don't blow that light out.
Huh?
Hold it there a moment.
What's the matter? Why are you looking at me like that?
It's all right. You can put it out now.
Well, thanks.
What is your name?
Larry Mason. Why?
You're not the man.
I'm not what man?
I'll know him when I see him.
Well, who is this man? What do you want him for?
He killed someone.
Killed someone?
It was here, on this road. He ran him down and killed him.
Oh, an accident.
They said he wasn't to blame, but he was driving the car. The man was just standing there, hitching a ride, just as I hitched a ride with you.
Well, maybe it was foggy or something.
A driver should be careful in a mist.
Look, suppose you find this guy, what are you going to do?
Kill him.
Wait a minute, you can't go around killing people like that. They said it wasn't his fault, didn't they?
Yes, but I know better. I will find him.
I didn't like it. I was sure the guy was batty. Anyway, he didn't say any more then. He seemed to shrink back in his seat, almost as if he wasn't there. I stepped on it. The sooner I got to Bowden, the better I'd like it. But just as we were pulling up, I spoke to him again. Look, about this guy you say you're looking for.
Yes.
You're not really going to kill him, are you?
Yes, I am.
But why?
Because he killed me.
What?
I'm the man he ran over in his car and killed.
Whether the door on his side opened or not, I haven't any idea. But I do know that suddenly he was gone. I just sat there. I lit a cigarette and kept telling myself the guy hadn't been in the car. He hadn't talked to me. And all the time I knew I didn't know what I knew. I threw the cigarette away and went in for a coffee. Biddy Kirk was behind the counter with the usual grin all over her fat face.
Hiya, Larry.
Hi, Biddy.
Coffee?
Yeah.
And what else? We got some nice... Hey, what's the matter with you? You look like you want something stronger than coffee.
Coffee will do. Nothing to eat.
Are you sick or something?
No, I'm not sick.
Okay. Here you are. Here's your coffee.
Thanks.
Look, are you sure you're okay? You don't look very good.
I'm okay. Say, Biddy.
Yeah?
Do you remember about... Oh, I guess it must have been a few months ago. There was a
Hi, Biddy.
Chuck.
Larry.
Hi.
How's the coffee tonight, Biddy?
Strong enough for you.
Swell.
Coming up. Anything to eat?
I don't know. I'll drink the coffee first.
Okay. Here. Well, call me if you want something. Gotta get back in the kitchen and get some sandwiches made.
You just drive in from Bainville?
Yeah. Why?
Oh, I just wondered.
What's on your mind? Lose a big order or something?
No, I gave a guy a lift down here.
So what? So did I. Do it all the time. What's new about that?
There's something funny about the guy. I picked him up just the other side of the gap. Gave me the creeps.
Wait a minute. What'd this guy look like?
Oh, pale sort of hair, dead-looking, grayish sort of face.
Yeah? Go on.
He talked about an accident. I lit a cigarette and he sort of peered into my face when I struck the match. And then he said, I wasn't the guy he was looking for, or something like that.
Where did you drop him?
Brought him right into Bowden. Stopped the car, and he was gone, just like that.
Larry, I picked up that guy myself. Just the other side of the gap.
I shouted at him. It wasn't the same man. He was kidding me. It wasn't possible. But the description tallied. The only difference was he'd only ridden a couple of miles with Chuck and hadn't said anything about the accident.
Accident? What accident?
I'll tell you in a minute. First of all, when I'd brought him into Bowden, how did he get back to the other side of the gap in time for you to pick him up? You were right behind me.
He couldn't. Not unless he's got a twin brother. Or unless he's a ghost who likes hitching rides.
Yeah. That's about the only explanation.
Hey, what is this? You trying to tell me you believe...
Just a minute, chum. Biddy?
Yeah? Getting hungry out there?
Can you come out a minute?
Sure. What'll it be? Corned beef on rye?
Biddy, I want you to tell me something. Can you remember an accident between here and Bainville?
Oh, I can remember plenty of them.
Well, yes, I know, but this one... Well, I don't know the name of the man who was driving. I don't even know when it was, but he hit a hitchhiker.
A hitchhiker?
Can you remember it, Biddy?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, that was George Kirby. He was driving not very long ago. And Sam Henderson was with him. Yeah, they have the inquest up in Bainville. Yeah. It was a misty night, I remember. George said at the inquest he couldn't see very well, and he hit this guy before he even saw him.
Who was the guy he hit? Do you know?
Oh, he lived up by the gap. I didn't really know him. Seen him in here a couple of times. He was a writer or something. What's all this about?
Well, what did he look like?
Pale sort of guy. Looked like he needed a good meal. Kind of mousy-colored hair.
That sounds like...
What sort of a voice had he?
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, kind of quiet and slow, I think.
That's what I wanted to know. Okay, thanks, Biddy.
Anything to oblige. I guess I'll go back to my sandwiches. Give me a shot when you're hungry.
Okay.
Come on, Larry, what is all this?
Chuck, the guy you and I picked up is the guy George Kirby ran over and killed.
Are you out of your mind, Larry? He's dead.
Dead or not, the guy I picked up looked right into my face and said he was after the guy who ran him down and killed him. And
you're making this up.
And when he found this man, he was gonna kill him. I don't know how long we sat there arguing it out. In the end, we didn't know whether we were sane or crazy. We had all the facts. They'd only fit into one pattern. And that pattern was impossible. In the end, we did come to one conclusion.
It seems to me, whatever way you look at it, this George Kirby may be in danger.
Yeah, but from what? Or from whom?
Somebody's threatening him. Or trying to scare him.
Somebody pretending to be a ghost.
There must be two people pretending to be a ghost. There's one thing certain. The man you picked up tonight can't be the same man I picked up. It's not physically possible.
Chuck, I don't believe in ghosts any more than you do. But what happened tonight can't be explained.
Can. It must be.
Well?
Maybe these two men we picked up were twins.
Triplets. The third one was the guy who was killed. Well, that's fantastic.
Is a ghost any less fantastic?
No, but... Well, anyway, we gotta warn this guy Kirby that someone's after him.
We don't even know him.
Oh, we can leave a message with Biddy. Give her a shout. I want something to eat anyway.
Oh, Biddy, how about a sandwich?
Getting hungry now, eh?
Yeah. Give me a corned beef and rye and a dill. And another cup of coffee.
Now, how about you, Larry?
That'll do for me, too, I guess. And, Biddy.
Yeah?
Will you be seeing this, George Kirby sometime?
Don't guess so. He comes in pretty regular.
Could you give him a message?
Sure. What is it?
Well, just tell him that... Well, we found out that somebody's threatening him, see?
Threatening him? Who is?
Well, we don't quite know.
Tell him not to pick up anybody between here and Bainville.
I don't get it.
It's all right, Biddy. He's in danger. And we don't know him, so the only thing we can do is leave the message with you.
Well, I'll tell him. But he'll probably laugh in my face.
Well, maybe he will. But tell him anyway, see?
What's the matter with you, Biddy? Something on your mind?
Yeah, I got a message for you, George.
Message?
Too bad you weren't in a week ago. The guys could have told you themselves.
What guys?
Oh, Larry Mason and Chuck Reynolds.
Never heard of them.
Well, they left this message anyways. Said to tell you somebody's threatening you.
Threatening me?
Yeah. And to not pick anybody up between here and Bainville.
What's this, a gag?
Well, I don't know. I tell you, George, I don't know what it's all about.
Well, who was threatening me?
Well, I didn't hear much because I was back in the kitchen. But they did ask me about that accident you had. Asked a lot of questions
Well,
about
it was an accident. They said so at the inquest.
Yeah, George, I know that.
Nobody's got any right to rake that up and threaten me.
Sure, George. It wasn't your fault. We know
It wasn't,
that.
you hear? It wasn't my fault. Who's this Larry Mason and Chuck, whatever his name is anyway? I don't know them. What right have they got to come around?
Now, don't get excited. They wasn't threatening you. They said somebody else was.
Yeah? I'll bet they're trying to put a scare into me or something. Well, you can tell them from me. They can keep their trap shut or there'll be trouble.
The next time I saw Biddy, I heard how George Kirby had taken the warning. That's what you get for trying to help somebody. Anyway, I'd done what I could. And as the days went by, I began to feel as though I'd dreamed the whole thing. It was all too fantastic. Then one day I met George Kirby face to face. I'd gone to Indianapolis for a sales meeting. I was sitting in the hotel lobby after dinner when a big man came up to me, looking full of fight.
Are you Larry Mason?
Yes?
I'm George Kirby. I want to talk to you.
George Kirby?
Yeah. I just want to tell you I don't like being threatened.
Now, look, I wasn't...
I got your message. I don't like that sort of thing.
Don't be a fool. I'm not threatening you.
Sounds like it to me.
Listen. I picked up a guy between Bainville and Bowden. He looked me over carefully, asked my name, and then said I wasn't the guy he was looking for. But then he said he was looking for the man who killed somebody in an accident on that road not long before.
Go on.
He said when he found that man, he was going to kill him.
Is that all?
I figured he was a kind of a nut. He tried to make out he was the man who was killed.
I'm supposed to believe all this?
I don't care whether you believe it or not. But I'll tell you this. That same night, a friend of mine picked up the same man. And we both talked it over and decided the least we could do was to warn you.
Thanks.
Well, we figured maybe the man you killed had a brother who maybe thought you'd got off easy.
David Quinn hasn't any brothers. I found that out.
Well, anyway, that's what happened. Now you know about it. You can do what you like. The way he treated me, I didn't care what happened to George Kirby. But whether I cared or not, I was to be there when it did happen. And because I was there, I found myself giving evidence before a coroner's jury. A jury inquiring into the death of George Kirby.
Now, Mr. Mason, will you tell us what you saw on the night in question?
Well, I was driving from Bainville to Bowden. I guess I left Bainville about 11 p.m.
Did you see the Kirby car?
Well, there was a car ahead of me. I could see its taillights. But I didn't know then whose it was.
Yes, go on.
As a matter of fact, it passed me. I could see it for a while, and then it went around a curve, and I lost sight of it.
But when did you see it again?
A few minutes later. I came around a curve myself, and there was this car picking up a hitchhiker. Before I caught up to it, it was on its way again.
You're certain that someone got into the car?
Yes, quite certain.
In fact, you will swear to it?
Well, Yes, I will.
Is there some doubt in your mind?
No, someone did get into that car.
I see. And then what happened?
It drew ahead of me again. Then I came to the place in the road they call the Gap, and there was a car piled up against a rock on the south side.
The car you've been telling us about?
Yes.
When you say it was piled up against a rock, is there not a sort of cliff at that point with guardrails protecting motorists?
Yes, although there are a couple of places where there are big rocks.
You mean the guardrail runs a certain distance, and then there is a rock, and then the guardrail continues past it?
That's right.
And this car was piled up against one of these rocks?
Yes.
What did you do?
Well, I stopped and ran over to the car. It must have turned over at least once. The top was all smashed in, and so was the front. Kirby was behind the wheel. He seemed to be crushed, and there was another man in the back who didn't seem too badly hurt.
That was Samuel Henderson.
Yes, I got him out of the car, and then I tried to get at Kirby, but I couldn't move him. So all I could do was watch for a car passing, which I did. I flagged it and sent Henderson down to Bowden for the police and some kind of a tow truck.
And you waited there until they came?
Yes.
Was there anyone in the front passenger seat of the Kirby car?
No.
Are you quite certain?
Quite certain, and there couldn't have been.
Why do you say that?
Well, because the front was so badly crushed, he would still have been there.
But you told us a moment ago that you saw the Kirby car stop and pick up a hitchhiker. Do you still say that?
Yes.
Then how do you account for the fact that there was no one else in the car when you found it?
I can't account for it. Maybe he was in the back seat and got out before I arrived.
Perhaps. We shall see about that. I may wish to examine you further on this point. You may step down now. Mr. Henderson, you were riding with George Kirby on this trip?
Yes, sir.
Will you tell us what happened after you left Bainville?
Well, I was dozing in the back seat. We take turns driving. I was asleep, I guess, till something woke me up.
What was that?
The car stopping. I sort of opened my eyes and saw George lean over and open the other front door, and a man got in.
No doubt about that.
None at all. I didn't see him very clearly. I didn't really want to wake up. I was tired.
Did you, in fact, stay awake?
More or less. George was talking to this hitchhiker, but the man said almost nothing. That is, until just before the accident.
What did he say then?
He said, you are George Kirby. And George said, yes. Then the man said, you killed David Quinn. That woke me up.
David Quinn was the man Kirby had killed in an accident some months before?
That's right, sir. I was startled. George looked at him and said, so what? Then the man said, I have been waiting for you. George started to say something, and then suddenly the man said, look out, there's someone ahead. And he seemed to reach over and grab the wheel. The car swerved, and we crashed. I don't remember much else till Mr. Mason pulled me out.
Mr. Henderson, you realize that all you have told us is on oath.
I realize that, but it's true, every word of it.
Was there any person sitting beside George Kirby in the front seat when you recovered consciousness?
No.
Yet you insist that there was someone there till the moment of the crash.
I do. I have said that on my oath, and it's true.
How do you account for the fact that there was no one there afterwards?
I can't account for it. I only know that's how it was.
Very well. You may step down, but do not leave the court. You are a trooper with state police?
Yes, sir, I am.
I understand you were called to the scene of the accident in question between 11 and 12 at night.
Yes, sir.
What did you find on arrival?
I found the Kirby car piled against a rock on the south side of the road. It had hit the guardrail and bounced off it and then turned over. Mr. Mason was waiting for me. I found George Kirby pinned behind the steering wheel, apparently unconscious. I had brought up a truck from the police garage, and we had to use tools to get the door off on the driver's side so we could get Kirby out.
How badly was he injured?
He was dead when we got him out.
What did you do then?
I took a statement from Mason, and then I went back and examined the marks of the car on the road. I saw that it had apparently swerved right over to the guardrail.
How do you come to that conclusion?
By the skid marks. Kirby must have applied the brakes, and they left marks.
Did you examine carefully the front of the car and the roof?
Yes, sir. The whole front and top had been smashed.
In your opinion, if anyone had been riding in the front passenger seat, could he have gotten out?
He could not. I will swear to that.
You have heard the evidence of Mr. Mason and Mr. Henderson to the effect that Kirby did pick up a passenger.
Yes, sir. All I can say is he must have got out before the crash.
But Mr. Henderson says he did not.
I don't know about that, but I will swear that no person was in that front seat at the time of the crash. It couldn't be.
They had Henderson and me back on the stand, and they made monkeys out of us. It wasn't so bad for me. The hitchhiker could have got out of that car without my seeing him. But Henderson wouldn't budge an inch from his story. In the end, we both slunk out of the inquest with everyone convinced we'd both committed perjury. Henderson took me over to the hotel to have a drink in his room. I sure needed it.
Who was he, Mason? Who was he?
You know, don't you?
Yes. Yes, I know, and yet...
And yet it couldn't have been. You imagined it. And I imagined I gave him a lift 3 or 4 weeks back. I imagined he said he was going to kill George Kirby. And Chuck Reynolds imagined he gave him a lift, too. I imagined him. And I'll never forget him.
Neither will I. Neither will I, because he...
Oh, don't say it, Henderson. After all, we don't believe in ghosts, do we?
I believe in what I see, Mason.
Then you didn't see anything. Mind if I help myself? I need it.
Now, please go ahead.
Thanks.
There's just one other thing I didn't tell them at the inquest.
What was that?
Where the hitchhiker grabbed the wheel and swerved the car.
Well?
It was precisely at the spot where David Quinn was killed.
The Hitchhiker, by Alan King, was item 3 in a 4-part series of tales of the supernatural, written for and presented by the Mystery Theater, with John Vernon as Sam Henderson, Cease Linder as George Kirby, Frank Perry as Larry Mason, and Hugh Watson as Old Quinn. Beth Lockerbie was heard as Biddy, Tom Harvey as Chuck, Jack Creeley as the coroner, and Alan Doremus as the state trooper. Sound effects were by Alex Sheridan. Technical operation by John Skillen. This is Bill Lorne speaking.
Theater 10:30. Theater 10:30. Is your mind at rest? Good. Tonight, we at CBC Halifax invite you to explore with us a dark and gothic tale by E.T.A. Hoffman, retold for radio by Gavin Douglas. This evening's story recalls that childhood dread, the Sandman. I do hope you enjoy it.
My dearest Clara, how long has it been since I have written? Weeks? Months? I have been imagining that you think me dead or lost in dissipation. Oh, my darling, better that I were. Forebodings lie over me like the shadows of black storm clouds on the ground. I am here to study physics, but it is the devil will complete my education. I will graduate into the fiery pit. If you were only here, you might judge for yourself. But what I write to you will make you think me mad and a seer of ghosts. Shall I tell you the frightful thing that happened to me? Do you know what mortal effects I am trying in vain to shake off? My dear, on the 20th of October last, at 12 o'clock noon, a barometer seller came into my room and offered me his wares. I can hear you laughing now. What childish nonsense. Did the barometers all predict a hurricane? Yes, they did in a way. I have told you very little of my childhood, save that my father died. Unfortunately. It is time you knew the rest. I have told you that my father was a wonderful storyteller. Around his study table after dinner, my mother, my sisters, and I would be transported into worlds of fantasy and delight, greater, I swear, than other children ever knew. But on a few nights in the year, most often in the stormy autumn or the dead of winter, he would not speak. Silently, picture books in our hands, we would sit and watch him, mute and stiff in his armchair, growing almost invisible in tobacco smoke, like some dour spirit of the fog. On such nights, my mother was restless and dejected, and we waited in a gloomy apprehension until the clock struck 9. As the clock struck, my mother would tell us, "Off to bed, children, time for bed, the Sandman is coming." And as we scattered to our bedrooms, more in fear than in obedience, we did hear someone clumping through the front hall with a slow and heavy step. I remember asking Mother who the naughty Sandman was who drove us from Papa. "Why," she said, "the Sandman isn't a man at all. It only means you're sleepy now and must go off to bed." In my childish mind, I didn't believe her. Hadn't I heard his footsteps coming up the stairs? I asked old gardeners, nurses, people in the streets. Oh, how they did delight to frighten children.
The Sandman, my dear, comes to bad children when they won't go to bed. Sand, handfuls of sand he throws into their eyes so that they pop all bloody out of their heads. Then the Sandman sweeps the eyes up into his sack and carries them to the half-moon as food for his children. His children sit there in a nest with crooked beaks like owls, with which they gobble up the eyes of human children who've been naughty.
As the years passed and I became older, I outgrew old wives' tales of the Sandman's children and their dreadful nest. But every now and then, year after year, heavy steps would echo through the hallway, and the door of my father's study would be violently torn open. The Sandman's dealings with my father took hold of my imagination and would not let it go. I became obsessed with the supernatural and fantastic, with gruesome tales of hobgoblins, witches, tom-thumbs, and the like. At last, one night, when the gloom of the household foretold of one of the Sandman's visits. I hid behind a curtain in my father's room before the clock struck 9. My mother and sisters hurried away down the corridor, and the dreaded, familiar steps approached. Then there came a sharp step just outside the door, and it clattered open. Summoning all my courage, I peered between the folds of curtain and saw the old lawyer Coppelius. A huge, broad-shouldered man with a fat, shapeless head, a face the color of yellow earth, a twisted, sardonic mouth, and piercing green cat's eyes. He was a constant and hated guest at luncheon in our house, touching as if by accident with his huge, repulsive hands every sweetmeat on the table, ruining them forever in our children's eyes. My father deferred to him as a superior being, at all costs to be humored, at all costs to be endured. This vile Coppelius was the Sandman, no longer a bogey from the nursery, but a living monster who spread gloom and misery wherever he set foot. Above my father's old stove in the corner, there now flickered a blue flame, and strange utensils stood about.
To work, to work! Much to do, and they will be impatient. Feed the flames.
Through the smoke and blue infernal light, I scarcely recognized my father. His gentle, honest features seemed contorted into a mask of agony. Human faces appeared to float in the murk. They stopped my heart when I saw that they had no eyes, only deep black cavities looking from nothing into nothing.
Eyes! Our friends lack eyes and cannot see us. We must have eyes to give them sight.
Overcome by horror, I screamed and fell out of my hiding place onto the floor. When I awakened, my mother told me that I had fainted, that Coppelius and my father were mere amateurs of chemistry, but that the old lawyer was very, very angry, and I must never eavesdrop again. Eavesdrop? I never dared to step into the room thereafter, until that last dreadful night, when Coppelius came again. My father promised that this was the last of old Coppelius's visits, and we were almost joyful when we went to bed. It was the last joy we were to know at home. For just at the hour of midnight, before the clock could sound, the noise of an explosion thundered through the house. My father's body, and we found it through the smoke and shattered glass. I cannot describe to you, more than to say that we knew him more from his form than from the remainder of his face. The incident was much talked of, and the authorities searched everywhere for Coppelius. But he had vanished without trace into the night. Oh, Clara, my dearest Clara, the man who came to my room here a few weeks ago, the barometer seller, he has changed his name, his dress, and his profession. But, Clara, it was Coppelius.
writing to you on so intimate a matter, but you are my cousin, and the only confidant that poor Nathaniel seems to have. No doubt he's told you all about the diabolical death of his father, and of wicked barometer peddlers who haunt his dreams and such nonsense. I have written to him countless times to try to banish these imagined spectres with a little honest laughter, but he calls me cold, unfeeling, and a stranger to the black abysses of this world. I believe with all my soul that the evils of the world can never touch us unless we give them entry of our own free will. Until we let them become a part of us, they are helpless phantoms, drifting around us, knocking in vain for welcome. Dear Siegmund, I love Nathaniel deeply. Someday I shall be his wife, though 100 Coppeliuses tell us nay. Watch him, guard him, and let me know his mind. Has he resumed his studies? Are his professors sympathetic? I curse the distance that separates us. Let me know everything that you see fit. No, everything. As always, Clara.
My dear Clara, I am delighted that I have better news for you. Nathaniel has come under a good influence, who has done more for him than I could ever hope to. He goes daily for his tutorial to the house of the renowned physicist, Professor Spallanzani, who has convinced him that the poor old barometer seller is not, after all, the devil in disguise. He is a poor mechanic named Giuseppe Coppola, and the professor, who is of course himself Italian, swears that his accent is the purest Piedmontese. You cannot imagine how relieved Nathaniel seems. Spallanzani himself is a most peculiar man. Brilliant, of course, but rather eccentric, as natural philosophers are apt to be. He has a daughter whom he keeps locked up behind a glass door with a green curtain. The curtain was a little parted yesterday as Nathaniel and I came up to our tutorial, and there in a sealed room sat a tall, beautifully proportioned girl in sumptuous clothing, hands folded, motionless. Would you believe it? We watched for a moment or two, and she never moved. We learned afterwards that she is called Olympia, and gossip says she is kept hidden away there because she is an idiot. She was dazzlingly beautiful. Oh, but that expressionless face. Oh, it made my flesh creep. Oh, poor Spallanzani.
My dearest Clara, I have just suffered a most unpleasant experience. I was in my room, gazing out the window and idly wondering about Olympia, old Spallanzani's daughter. Siegmund says he has told you of her. You know that I live opposite the professor's house, and I can often see her dimly through her window, sitting motionlessly, staring into space. She is a most curious phenomenon. I'm sure you will be quite interested. But as I looked, there came a tap at the door. Come in.
Signor Nathaniel?
I don't want any barometers today. Please, go away.
All right, no barometer. But I have the better thing. Eyes, lovely eyes.
Eyes? Madman. How can you have eyes?
Oh, wait and you see. See, spectacles to put on your nose. Those are my eyes, my lovely eyes. See how so many eyes all glance and wink and stare at you, eh? See how the blood-red beams blaze and intersect and warm your heart. Ah!
Stop! God in heaven, stop!
Oh, nothing there you like, eh? Well, here's a fine little pair of binoculars.
Binoculars?
For the pocket. Does not this perhaps please you?
I beg your pardon. I really don't know what came over me. I thought you were someone else. I was forgetting. Binoculars. Yes, let's see them.
Here you are.
Thank you. Good Lord. How close they bring things.
Yes, that's right, too. Try them on the street. Across the street.
Olympia.
I beg your pardon.
Olympia. She's more beautiful than I could have imagined. Her eyes are moonlight. They... What am I saying? How much, old man? How much for the glasses?
3 zecchine, 3 ducats, signor.
There you are. Thank you. You may take the spectacles and go.
Find a pair of glasses, eh?
Yes, yes. Goodbye.
Goodbye, my friend.
What a repulsive man. I suppose he's laughing because he thinks I paid too much for the binoculars.
My dear Clara, I am afraid that I have the most serious news for you. I had better tell you the whole truth, omitting nothing. Last evening, Spallanzani astounded the entire university by giving a great ball at his house, whose star attraction was none other than his secluded daughter, Olympia. Nathaniel and I received invitations, and at the appointed hour, we entered the brilliantly decorated rooms.
Look! Is she not beautiful, Siegmund?
Oh, very. She has one of the most finely modeled faces and figures that I've ever seen. But, Nathaniel, the way she walks, and look at her gestures. Have you ever seen anything so stiff and measured? Oh, I don't like her in spite of her beauty.
You have no soul. None at all. Of course, she is constrained. This is her first social occasion.
Have you noticed that no one is asking her to dance?
I have, and I will. I must beg you to excuse me. You're as light as a swallow, Olympia. And they tell me you play the harpsichord magnificently. Magnificently! Why has your father kept you from us so long? Forgive me for shivering. Your hand seems cold. No, cool, like alabaster. Olympia, I have seen you at your window for days. Weeks, rather. I know it must seem presumptuous, but I love you. Then you do care for me as well? Oh, my darling. You must know I am your father's favorite student. I know he won't oppose the match. See? He's smiling on us from the corner there. I promise to love and cherish you forever. Will you marry me? Oh, my dearest, my darling one. My lovely, my splendid star of love. Now that you have come, my soul will never want for light again.
Olympia? Olympia!
My dearest, must you go? And to think that they laughed at you. I saw them this evening, and I heard them saying your singing is too perfect, and that you play the harpsichord like a metronome.
Nathaniel! What are you standing there looking moonstruck for? Don't you see the rooms are empty and the guests have all departed? The candles are guttering, the flowers are dead. Come on, let's be gone.
Did you see? Oh, Siegmund, did you see how Olympia danced?
Oh, in heaven's name, will you please tell me how an intelligent fellow like you can possibly have fallen for that waxen-faced wooden doll? Have you forgotten you are engaged to Clara?
I forgive you, Siegmund, for you are Clara's cousin and my friend. Thank the fates you are insensible to Olympia's beauty, for if we were rivals, one of us would die a violent death.
Oh, good God, Nathaniel. I concede her beauty, but her eyes, man. Her They're completely devoid of life, almost a vision. Oh, she's uncanny. I swear she's only acting the part of a living being. I don't want anything to do with her.
Let go! Rogue! Villain! Did I give everything I had for that? Oh, that wasn't our wager. I made the eye. And I the clockwork. To hell with you and your clockwork, you wretched mechanic. Satan! Let go! Cheat! Beast!
What is it? What on earth's the matter? Professor! Professor Spallanzani, what's wrong? My dearest Clara, I do not ask you to believe what we saw. Professor Spallanzani and the peddler Coppola held Olympia between them, dragging at her and pulling her apart. Springs and cogs fell from her, littering the floor. And where her eyes had been a few moments earlier were the hollow sockets of a wooden door.
Nathaniel, you fool! What are you standing there for? After him! After Coppola! He has my doll, my best automaton. 20 years of work and he's run off with it. The mechanism, the walk, the power of speech are mine. The eyes he stole from you. Rogue, villain, after him! He has your eyes!
Monster! I sat at your feet. I worshipped your learning, and now you... The eyes? Coppelius! Oh, God! Then Coppola is Coppelius, and I am lost. Spin! Spin, wooden tongue! Eyes flare and burn! Coppelius has escaped, but I can kill you!
For God's sakes, no! No! Help! Help! Batman! Help!
My dearest Siegmund, my mother will by now have conveyed to you the tragic news. Our poor Nathaniel seemed much better in those last few weeks, until yesterday. We had been walking and climbed the great tower of the marketplace to see the sun go down. We stood arm in arm on the topmost gallery, and I pointed out an odd illusion of the altitude. A strangely shaped grey bush that seemed to be striding towards us over the ground. Seizing an old pair of quaint binoculars that he found by chance in his pocket, Nathaniel looked at the moving bush and plunged over the side. When I had fled down from the tower, there remained nothing remarkable upon the ground save his poor crushed body. But there were no binoculars. My dear Siegmund, in spite of all my reason, and in spite of all his will, I believe the Sandman came for him at last. I hope, oh God, I pray the part about his children on the moon is true as well.
E.T.A. Hoffman's story, The Sandman, was our story tonight on Theatre 1030. David Renton played Nathaniel, Faith Ward was heard as Clara, Bruce Armstrong played Siegmund, and Joseph Rutten, Professor Spallanzani. Dr. Coppelius was played by Gavin Douglas, who adapted the work for this medium. Sound effects, Carl Scott and Wayne Mackey. Technical operation, Bud Tabor. Produced for Theatre 1030 by Peter Donkin.
Time to tell tales of the unaccountable, of apparitions by night and phantoms in shadow. Time to tell strange stories of fantasy and the supernatural. Mystery Theater presents The Screaming Skull, a tale of the supernatural by George Selverson, based on a story by E. Marion Crawford, and starring Tommy Tweed as the captain and Hugh Webster as James.
This is the house, Captain? It is, James. Nice place for an old sea dog to retire to. It's a pretty little property, just the thing for an old sailor like me who's taken to gardening. You won't be gardening in this weather. That's true, James. Let's get in out of the wet. Listen to the wind and the sea. You must feel right at home here. At home? Come in, James. Close the door. Right. Sit there by the fire. I'll put something in a glass to warm you. Wonderful. It's a night for a burning log on the hearth. And for Holland gin. This is the same I brought Luke from Amsterdam 25 years ago. He never touched a drop of it. Luke was your cousin, Captain Braddock, wasn't he? He was. That's how I came by this house. After he died and his boy Charlie was killed in South Africa, there were no relations left. Here now, see if this doesn't warm your blood, James. Thank you. Wasn't there a Mrs. Pratt? Yes, there was. What happened to her? Well, she died before Luke. Strong stuff, Captain. Listen. You can hear the tide. Gloomy sound, isn't it? Yes. Do you remember the German ship we sailed on? Listen. Did you hear that, Captain? Yes. Someone screamed. It must be from the beach. No, it isn't from the beach. Oh, someone may be in trouble. We'd best have a look. Sit down, James. No one's in trouble. Well, why do you say that? You said you heard it, too? What's interesting is that you heard it, James. What do you mean by that? There are always people who think it's the wind or my imagination. Then what was it? Put another stick on the fire, will you? Yes. It's only something to do with the wind and the tide. Yeah, this is good enough for old sailors like us, James. I don't think Mary Pratt was very happy here. Might be a little gloomy for a woman at that. Poor woman. I suppose in a way I was responsible for her death. What's that, Captain? It was on a night like this. I was at home for a spell, waiting to take the Olympia out on her first trip. Is that the voyage when she broke the record? No, that was the next one. Oh. But that dates it. 1892? In November. In this very room it was. Oh, the weather was dirty. Pratt was in his usual bad temper, and poor Mary Pratt's dinner was a failure. You see that, Captain?
My wife is trying to poison me.
Luke.
He's joking, Mary.
Oh, I wish he were joking.
Welsh rarebit, raw turnips, and half-boiled mutton. Charles, if you ever marry, don't marry a fool.
You see what he thinks of me? You see how he goes on.
On second thought, perhaps it's better to marry a woman foolish enough to poison you with Welsh rarebit instead of spun glass or chopped horsehair.
Oh, you see, Luke's only joking. After all, he's a doctor. He knows all the antidotes, eh, Luke?
Not for some things.
Oh, of course. There was that woman in Ireland, the one who did for 3 husbands before anyone suspected a thing. Be glad you aren't married to one like that, Luke.
How did she manage it?
Well, her 4th husband managed to keep awake after she drugged him and caught her at it.
Caught her at what?
Well, she had a little horn funnel, and she put it into his ear.
This sounds rather ridiculous, old man.
Well, that's what he thought, until he saw her coming with a ladle filled with melted lead.
That's rather funny. Yeah.
That's terrible. Charles, that's awful. Oh, don't you dare tell such a story here, ever again.
In this very room it was. James, if I were you, I would never tell ugly stories about ingenious ways of killing people. Listen.
What? You heard that sound again, Captain?
No, that was the wind backing up to the southern again. I can tell by the sound.
Are you trying to tell me that Mrs. Pratt killed her husband?
No, she couldn't have. You see, she died that same November.
Good heavens, man.
Yes, Luke was a lonely man after that.
Lonely?
Oh, I could see it. I came to see him now and then.
And he looked lonely?
Oh, yes. Very worn and nervous. That last time I saw him, there was the thing about the dog.
Thing about a dog?
Yes. Luke was so thin, his head looked like a skull with parchment stretched over it, and his eyes had a sort of glare. He glared at me when I asked about the dog.
I killed the dog.
That sweet-tempered old bulldog?
I could stand it no longer, Charles.
Well, the dog was ill?
No. But he used to climb into that chair where you're sitting now.
Yes?
That was my wife's chair, you know.
Well, I know, Luke, but after all...
You never saw him do it. Old Bumble used to sit there and stare at me. We'd stare at each other, thinking over old times. And then the fool dog would begin to shake all over and set up a howl as if he'd been shot, and then he'd run and hide under the sideboard, making the strangest noises.
Why, poor old Bumble.
I couldn't stand it. He didn't suffer at all, Charles. I put dianine into his drink to make him sleep soundly, and then I chloroformed him gradually so that he couldn't have suffered, even in a dream. He didn't suffer.
Well, I believe you, Luke.
He didn't suffer a bit. And it's been quieter since then.
He said, it's been quieter since then. Now I know what he meant. He meant that he didn't hear that noise so often. Perhaps he thought at first that it was old Bumble in the yard howling at the moon. Perhaps that's what he thought.
Good heavens.
It's not that kind of noise at all, is it, James?
That sound. What is it, Captain?
Don't be frightened, man. It won't eat you. It's only a noise. And a noise never hurt anyone.
That's all very well, but what is it?
When I don't understand a thing, I call it a phenomenon. And I don't take it for granted that it's going to kill me. Besides, what is there to prove Luke killed his wife?
Is there a connection?
Did I say there was?
Well, you, what did they say she died of?
She died in bed a few days after I told that story.
But of what?
A heart trouble.
But you don't believe that?
Why not? Luke called in another doctor and he believed it.
But you don't.
Of course I believe it. Only... pour yourself another drop and I'll show you something.
I think I will.
I keep it locked in this old roller-top desk of Luke's. That's where I found it, you know. Ah, here we are.
You mean that pistol?
No. That's the old pistol I bought in Rio for a souvenir when you and I went ashore. You remember the Leofric, James?
Mm-hmm.
Grand vessel. Sailed. Those were the days, James.
What were you going to show me?
I imagine Luke was fond of deep-sea fishing. Probably used this for casting a sinker for a nightline. Do you think, James?
An iron ladle?
You can see there it was hardened in the bottom of the bowl. The melted lead. Why, James, you dropped your drink. I'll get you another. You won't mention this, will you? After all, Luke's dead now, with an honest man's tombstone at his head. There was trouble enough about his death as it was. No reason for James Traherne to hear about a thing like this ladle. Here you are.
Thanks. James Traherne?
He's the sexton, and he works in my garden.
Works in your garden?
Oh, I didn't tell you about that. It was when I retired and having inherited the property from poor old Luke, I moved in. This James Traherne showed me through the house and told me the story and showed me the thing in the cupboard.
A curious thing to keep in the cupboard? I mean, when you consider this here's the bedroom.
This hat box?
Same as they found by old Luke down on the beach.
When he died?
That's right. You remember the verdict? By the hands or teeth of some person or animal unknown.
I know. I heard all about that. Some big dog chewed him to death.
That don't horrify you, Captain?
Oh, I suppose. I've seen a good deal around this world, however.
Have you ever seen a bit of interior decoration like this?
What is it?
Hat box. Open it up, Captain.
Oh, you're very mysterious, Traherne. All right, I'll open it up.
Very pretty and polished. And white, ain't it, Captain?
A skull.
It's what it is, all right. Found by him when he was dead, there on the beach.
Oh, what of it? Luke was a doctor. It's not unusual for a doctor to have a thing like this.
But it is unusual for a thing like this to roll. Huh? When he fell dead, mind you, not down the slope of the beach towards his feet, but up the slope of the beach toward his head.
Oh, you what?
It rolled up the beach. From where the open hat box was found.
Phenomenon.
This here phenomenon lay right up against his poor throat, all broken and bruised by, like you say, Captain, some big dog. Do you notice something else?
No.
Here, take it.
Well?
Give it a shake.
Huh?
Go on, shake it.
All right.
Now, ain't that a peculiar sound?
There's something inside.
Pretty small, very nice shape to it. Perfect teeth.
Well, it's only a medical specimen.
I wonder where the lower jaw got to. With them teeth, she would have had a pretty smile. Wouldn't she, Captain?
That's what he said. After that, I got something into my head. Oh, I don't mean anything supernatural. As far as that goes, I'd rather face any shape of ghost than a fog in the channel when it's crowded, eh, James?
Oh, what was it you got into your head?
No, there's no sense to it.
Didn't she have a Christian burial?
Oh, certainly. She's lying in the churchyard where Traherne put her to rest.
It's monstrous.
To suppose her husband kept her skull in her old hat box in the bedroom? Heh.
It's ridiculous. Captain, you play me for a fool. Pour me another drink.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
I suppose he had done. I mean, the ladle and the melted lead and all that. But then...
Why did he do this other thing?
Yes. Why?
He could have been afraid of something else that I told him when I told that story.
What?
Well, the woman that did for those 3 husbands, they dug up the 3 skulls, you know.
And?
And in each, there was a small lump of lead rattling around. That's what hanged her. I suppose he'd remember that was the vital evidence.
Captain Charlie Braddock.
James?
You old fraud, you sea dog, you pirate, you old devil.
What, James?
Get me another drink, you dog.
Yeah, but what is so funny?
You invite me here to this haunted-looking cottage of yours by the gloomy sea, and you set me down by your fireplace and spin me a yarn like... You old lying fraud of a sailor.
Lord, he'd remember that was the vital evidence. I've often wondered how he managed it. What do you suppose he put in its place?
Do you mean that sound came from your bedroom?
James, let me tell you about the night I tried to get rid of the thing. It's not happy anywhere else, you know. It wants to be in Mary Pratt's hat box in that cupboard. At least I think it does. I sleep in Luke's old surgery now, you know. But then when I first came, I slept in the bedroom. Well, I slept well. You know, an old sailor, no natural sound disturbs you. Not all the racket of a square rigger hove to in a heavy gale. But any unnatural sound, and you wake in a moment. That's how it was every night at exactly 17 minutes past 3. I wonder if that was the hour she died. Then I would hear it and be exploded into a wakeful terror.
What? Not again? I won't have that again.
I won't stand this anymore. Now, I'm going to settle this. I'll take you and... Yes, the window. There. Here you go, hat box and all out the window. Oh, dear heaven, blot out my ears, kill my hearing, deafen me, but never let me hear that again. Would not stop screaming. Then, when I thought I would go mad, it fell silent. I sat on my bed, listening, waiting. Hours passed. Then I heard a totally unexpected sound. Someone at the door. You can't see the door from above. I called out, "Who's there? Who is it?" Who could it be, I thought. Oh, some old country fellow, stone deaf. I took my candle and went down to open the door. I set my candle down on the hall table. And then, when I opened the door, the wind blew it out. There was no one there. I shut the door. I lit the candle. There it was, at my feet, where the wind blew it in. The light and shadow from the candle playing in the hollows of it. So the eyes seemed to open and shut at me. We stared at each other. I spoke to it. What do you want? It wanted to go back to its cupboard. I knew that. But I stared at it, and I refused to move. I stared, and it stared back, and I waited. All right. I hurried outside. I found that box. I ran inside, put the thing in the box, and returned it to its cupboard in the bedroom. After that, I slept in Luke's old surgery. But still, it screams at me. It hates me. I was the one who told Luke the story, you know. Listen, James. What? The wind and the tide.
Captain, do you have to go on with this story? Can't we talk about old times?
Yes, old times. Yes. Remember old Blocklot?
A carpenter, wasn't he?
Yes. On the Clontarf.
I remember.
He used to say, when we were hove to in a howling gale...
I remember. Biddy de boer pebble sore, 'tis night, boys.
That's just the way he'd say it.
Yes, and always on a night like this.
Listen.
So that's what it is.
What, James?
You old fraud. That's the classic sound of wind howling in the chimney.
James, I'll get the thing and show it to you. Here's the box.
That's it?
Yes. My candle went out as I brought it downstairs.
Well, put the box down.
It went out, but that was the draft from the leaky window on the landing.
Well, put it down.
Yes. Did you hear anything when I went up?
Yes.
There was another scream. Whatever that scream came from, it wasn't from this.
No?
I had the box in my hand when I heard the noise, and here it is now. So we have proved definitely that the screams are produced by something else.
The chimney.
To think I could have been so weak as to fancy that the poor skull could really cry out like a living thing with the agony of melted lead poured through the ear into its brain.
Then don't talk that way, Captain.
No, I won't.
Now, if you're going to show me Luke's medical specimen, open the box.
Yes, I will, James. You see how carefully I wrapped it in brown butcher's paper and tied it with string.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we look at it under the bright lamp. It's awful to think that the poor lady used to sit there, in your chair, where the dog Bumble later stared at Luke in just the same lamplight.
Oh, come now, Captain. Let's have a look at this.
See? Here's the label I put on it to seal the string. And here's what I wrote.
Once the property of the late Luke Pratt, M.D. One skull. Well, open it, Captain.
I often wondered what sort of hat it was that came in this box.
What kind of hat?
A gay spring hat with a bobbing feather and pretty ribbons. Strange if this same box should hold the head that wore that.
Open it.
Yes. Open it. Oh, strange. I don't have the strength in my hands anymore, James. Can you break the string?
Yes. There.
Now. Oh, good Lord, take the lamp.
The window.
James, the lamp.
Close that window, Captain.
Yes, I'll close the window, but don't let the lamp go out if you can help it.
How can I help it if you don't close the blasted window? Now, shut out that gale.
Yes, Here. The bolt was only half down. It won't blow open again. That's the advantage of these old-fashioned windows with the bolt. Now, the hat box.
Where is it?
Where? Did it blow off the table?
Oh, must be here.
There it is, on the floor. Hand it up there, will you, James?
There you are. Now, open it.
There. You see? The lid comes off easily enough. There. Now, look, James.
At what? There's nothing in the box.
What? Empty?
Empty, Captain.
No, that must not be.
Captain, there never was a skull, was there?
Never a skull?
No skull. You imagined the whole thing.
Yes. Yes, I imagined it. Turn up the lamp.
Yes. You've been living alone too long, old friend.
I can't understand. Do you suppose the sexton Traherne suspects something? Do you suppose he could have stolen it?
Why would he steal it?
What's that? On the floor.
Where?
There, by your foot.
No, Captain, for heaven's sake, it's nothing. Nothing at all, but this.
But what?
This.
Then I'm guilty. Then Luke did listen to the story. Then the thing does hate me. And this fell out just now when the box blew to the floor. It hates me.
Why would it hate you?
Because I told the story. And there you have the end of the story. A round ball of lead.
Then, where's the skull? Do you want me to answer?
No.
No, I'm not going to answer it, Captain.
It hates me. I told Luke the story. How did it get out of the box this time?
This is no affair. Captain, I'm going. Are you coming?
Where?
Out the other way, the back way.
No, it hates me. It blames me.
Then I'm going. You can come or not.
No, it hates me.
Come with me, Captain. Leave this and come with me.
No.
Then God help you. Because I can't.
James. James! What do you want of me? Don't do that. Don't. I know the frightful agony, the hot lead, the melted metal searing into the brain. Don't blame me. I know what you want. Here it is. My pistol. The old pistol from Rio. Do you remember, James? No, I won't answer. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. I won't open the door. I knew what you wanted.
Mystery Theater has presented The Screaming Skull, a tale of the supernatural by Marion Crawford. adapted for radio by George Selverson, with Hugh Webster as James, Tommy Tweed as the captain, Drew Thompson as Luke, Marion Waldman as Mary, his wife, and Eric Clavering as Traherne. The sound effects were by John Sliz, and technical operation by Robert Burt. This is Bill Lorne speaking. Mystery Theater. Mystery Theater. CBC presents Mystery Theater, a series of strange tales of the supernatural and the unforeseen, of chills and thrills and adventures selected from the classics. Here then, the story of The Monkey's Paw by W. Jacobs, in radio version by John Bethune.
Heavens, what a night. Herbert,
Yes, Mother?
you better wear your muffler when you go off to work.
I will.
Never forget your galoshes. It's been raining cats and dogs since supper time, and the roads will
Jenny,
be...
please.
What's the matter?
We're trying to play chess. How can we concentrate if you keep chattering?
I'm sorry.
All right, then. Now, where were we?
It's still your move, Dad.
I know that, but what was I going to... Oh, yes. There, I got you this time, me boy.
Yes, you're a deep one, all right.
Don't tell me your father's finally beaten you, Herbert.
No, not yet. He's overlooked his king.
Oh, I see it. Here, let me have that back.
Not on your life.
Why not?
All rules of the game, Dad.
I don't know with your scientific rules. You turn what ought to be an innocent relaxation into some
don't
sort
talk
of a...
so much, John. How can Herbert concentrate if you keep chattering?
It's all right, Mother.
Oh, listen to that wind, would you?
I'm listening.
I should hardly think Sergeant Major Morris would come tonight.
Oh, he'll turn up.
Can't say I blame him if he don't. That road out there's like a bog. Check. That's the worst of living way out here. Your friends can't even come to call.
Mate.
Lovers Lane, Fulham. Of all the miserable out-of-the-way places to live, this one takes the bun.
Now, John.
It's a disgrace, I tell you. What's the county council thinking of? That's what I want to know. Just because this is the only house in the road that's occupied, I suppose it don't matter if nobody can get near it.
Now, never mind, dear. Perhaps you'll win tomorrow.
Hey? What do you mean?
You know what I mean, so don't pretend.
Can't fool you, eh, Mother? Always know what I'm up to, don't you?
Well, after 30 years, I ought to.
All right, then, what am I thinking right now?
That you'd like a glass of grog.
Right again.
Oh, shouldn't we wait till the Sergeant Major Morris comes?
He won't come. Even an ardent old soldier like him would think twice before slugging his way out to a God-forsaken spot like this.
Oh, all right.
Come on now, Dad. It's not such a bad place. Leastways, it's not one of them stucco villas. In fact, it's one of the few old-fashioned houses left near London. Home-like, I call it.
Oh.
And so do you, or you wouldn't have bought it.
And a nice job I made of that, too. £200 still owing on.
Oh, don't worry. I'll work that off in no time. Matter of 3 years, I'd say, with the rise they promised me.
If you don't get married...
Oh, not me, Mother. Not that sort.
Oh, I wish you would, Herbert. A good lad like you with a steady job at the electrical works.
Lots of time, Mother. Sufficient for the day, as the saying goes. Just now my dynamos at the plant don't leave me much time for love-making.
Dynamos. I know sometimes I lay awake at nights and I think, if Herbert took a nap on the job and let them dynamos of his run down, all Fulham would be in darkness. What a joke that'd be.
Joke? Some joke. I'd get sacked on the spot.
I don't know. Well, that must be Morris after all. I never thought he'd make it.
I wonder what yarn the old boy's got for us tonight.
Don't slam the door, John.
Well, now, good evening. Come in, old friend, come in. Quick now. Can't hold this door much longer.
Right.
Ooh, here, let me take your coat. Oh, that wind's enough to blow the air off your head.
Aye, it's bad, all right. And a mile up the road by the cemetery, it's even worse.
Here's Sergeant Major Morris, Jenny.
Good evening.
How are you, ma'am?
Oh, I'm well enough, thank you. But you must be frozen. Come, sit here by the fire.
Ah, thank ye kindly, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Well, laddie, how's yourself? Not on duty, I see. Day week, eh?
No, sir, night week, but there's half an hour yet.
Oh, hand me the kettle, will you, Herbert?
All right.
Ah, this is more like it.
We were afraid you wouldn't come in all this rain.
Oh, you don't know me, ma'am. This is nothing to what I've seen in India.
Really, sir?
Aye, in the trenches at Chitral. What a time we had of it there. Sitting in a puddle with the natives taking pot shots at us and the rain pouring down in buckets.
Didn't you have umbrellas?
Umbrellas. Oh, that's a good one. Did you hear that, White? Umbrellas, she says. Umbrellas and galoshes and hot water bottles, eh? It's plain to see you was never in the army, ma'am.
Mother spoke out of kindness,
Well,
sir.
I know it, laddie. No offence intended, ma'am. But hardship is the soldier's lot. Aye. Starvation, fever, and get yourself shot. That's the way of it. And all I've got to show now is one arm and a blooming medal.
Cheer up, Morris. Here, try some of this.
Oh, what have we got here?
Put your nose in it, you'll see.
Ah, hot whiskey.
With sugar and a slice of lemon.
Well, now, I don't mind if I do. Here's to another 1,000 a year.
Same to you and many of them.
Oh, that's the stuff they give the troops. Here, laddie. Ain't you going to join us?
No, thanks. My work don't go with whiskey.
Not even a drop?
No, sir. I've got to keep a cool head and a steady eye and a still hand. If I don't, the flywheel might gobble me up.
Herbert, don't say such things.
Ah, you electricians. Sort of magicians, you are. Light says you, and light it is. Power says you, and the trams go whizzing. Knowledge says you, and the words go humming to the ends of the world. It fair beats me, it does. And I've seen a bit in my time, too.
Indian magic, do you mean?
Aye, fakirs. I've seen him do things you wouldn't believe.
Really? Such as what?
Well, I've seen a cove with no more clothes on than a baby.
Oh, dear.
If you know what I mean, ma'am. I've seen him take an empty basket, empty, mind you, and tie it all round with ropes.
Oh, you mean the basket trick. That's just a fake.
Fake, you call it. I tell you, I've seen it.
So have I, and I've read how it's done. Well, I could do it myself with a bit of practice.
Could you now? Well, what do you say to an old fakir chucking a rope in the air, mind you, and swarming up it the same as if it was hooked, then vanishing clear out to sight?
Oh, but that's impossible.
I've seen it with my own eyes, lad.
Oh, come on.
You mean to say you doubt my word?
No, the lad's only taking you off, all in fun.
But it's true, I tell you. And that's not all. Why, if I chose, I could tell you things. But no. You don't get any more yarns from me.
Nonsense, old friend. You're not going to get shirty about a bit of fun.
Here, let me fill your glass.
Thank ye kindly, ma'am.
You know, I'd like to go to India myself someday. Just to look round a bit. See them fakirs and jugglers and old temples and things.
You're better off where you are, White. There's things in India it's best for a man not to know about.
What was that you started telling me about the other day? About a monkey's paw or something?
Nothing. Leastways, nothing worth hearing.
A monkey's paw?
Aye.
Come on, Morris, tell us about it.
No, it's nothing. Don't go on about it.
You said you always carried it with you.
So I do, for fear of what might happen.
Here's your glass, Sergeant Major.
Thank you, ma'am.
What's the monkey's paw for, sir?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Oh, yes, I would. Have you got it with you now?
Of course.
Well, can we see it?
Oh, it's nothing to look at. Just an ordinary little paw dried up into a mummy. Here you are.
Oh, it's dirty.
Give us a look. Oh, it's all dried up.
I said so.
And, what might there be special about it?
That there paw has had a spell put on it.
Oh, dear. Give it back to him, John.
Oh, here, take it.
Who was it put the spell on it?
An old fakir. A very holy man he was. Used to sit all doubled up in one spot.
Cool.
Sat like that for going on 15 years, thinking of things. And he wanted to show that people was ruled by fate. That everything was cut and dried from the beginning, as you might say. That there weren't no getting away from it. And that if you tried, you'd catch it hot.
Don't say.
So he put a spell on this bit of a paw.
Why a monkey's paw?
Oh, it might have been anything else, but he took the first thing that came handy. Aye. He put a spell on it and made it so that 3 people could each have 3 wishes.
Oh.
But mark you, though those wishes were granted, those 3 people would, of course, to wish they hadn't been.
But, how could the wishes be granted?
He didn't say. It would all happen so natural you might think it was just a coincidence if so disposed.
Why haven't you tried it, sir?
I have.
Oh, you've had your 3 wishes.
Yes,
And were they granted?
they were.
Has anybody else wished?
Yes. The first owner had his 3 wishes. Oh, yes. Yes, he had his 3 wishes, all right. I don't know what his first 2 were, but the 3rd was for death.
Oh.
That's how I got the paw.
Well, it seems you've only got to wish for things that can't have any bad luck about them.
Ah, you don't understand, laddie.
Morris, if you've had your 3 wishes, the paw's no good to you now. What do you keep it for?
Fancy, I suppose. I did have some idea of selling it, but I don't think I will. It's done enough mischief already. Besides, people won't buy. Some of them think it's a fairy tale, and some want to try it first and pay after.
Well, if you could have another 3 wishes, would you?
I don't know. I don't know. No, I'm damned if I would. I've had my fill of this cursed pot. It's time the world was rid of it.
Are you not in the fire?
Yes, in the fire, there.
No, here, I'll get it out.
Don't be a fool,
Careful,
let
Dad.
it burn. Let the infernal thing burn, I tell you.
Not if I can... Ah, got it. There we are.
Is it burnt?
No, it's just singed a bit.
Chuck it back again, man.
No! If you don't want it, give it to me.
Not I. My hands are clear of it. I threw it on the fire. If you keep it, don't blame me for what happens. But if you've any sense, you'll pitch it back.
Yes, do as he says, John, please.
No, I'm going to keep it. Now, what do you say, Herbert?
Oh, I say keep it if you want to. Stuff and nonsense, anyhow.
Stuff and nonsense. Yes, I wonder. I wish I could...
Stop.
What?
Mind what you're doing. That's not the way.
What do you mean? It's not...
I mean, that's not the right way to wish.
Well, what is the right way?
Oh, don't have anything to do with it, John.
That's what I say, Ma'am. But if I don't tell him what to do, he might go wishing for something he didn't mean to, by accident. Look, you hold the paw in your right hand first. Then wish aloud.
Huh?
But I warn you, White. I warn you.
Sounds like the Arabian Nights.
What shall I wish for, Jenny?
Well, let me see. You might wish for me 4 pair of ants to do my housework.
Oh, right you are. Here we go. I wish...
Stop it.
What's the matter?
If you must wish for something sensible.
All right. Suppose I wish...
No. Wait. I can't stand this. Where's my coat?
You're not going?
Yes, Ma'am, I must. My nerves aren't up to this. Get my coat, will you, laddie?
Well, if you wait a bit, sir, I'll come along with you. I'll go your way.
Thank you, lad, but I can't stay any longer.
Not even for another glass of
Not
grog?
for anything. I don't want to be here when you wish. And wish you will as soon as my back is turned.
Well, what makes you think so?
Because I know. Pitch it in the fire.
Here's your coat, sir.
Thank you. Now mind, I warned you, White. I warned all of you. Remember?
Yes. Don't worry about us, old friend. Here.
What's this?
For the monkey's paw.
No, I'll take no money for
Oh,
it.
yes, you will.
Well, good night, all.
Good night, Sergeant. Well, what do you make of that?
Poor old Sergeant Major. If there's no more in this monkey's paw than there is in his other stories, we shan't make much out of it.
John, did you give him something for it?
Oh, just a trifle.
Well, you shouldn't have. Throwing your money about.
I wonder...
Wonder what?
I wonder whether we hadn't better chuck it back on the fire.
What for? Why, we're all going to be rich and famous and happy.
Throw it on the fire indeed when you've given good money for it.
Wish to be an emperor, Dad. Then you can't be henpecked anymore.
That'll be enough of that, young man. You be quiet.
You know, when I stop to think of it, I don't know what to wish for, and that's a fact. I seem to have got all I want.
If only you'd cleared the debt on the house, you'd be perfectly happy, eh, Dad?
Oh, that's right.
Well, go ahead. Wish for the £200. That'll just do it.
Oh, shall I?
Of course. Here's the paw. Now, take it in your right hand and wish.
No, don't, John. Don't have anything to do with it.
Go on, Dad, go on.
Yes, by Jove, I will. I wish for £200. Oh!
John, what is it?
It moved. As I wished, the paw twisted my hand like a snake.
Nonsense. Here, let me see it. Why, it's as stiff as a bone.
I tell you, it moved.
Oh, it was just your fancy.
No.
Well, I don't see any money anywhere, and I bet I never shall.
Whew, thank God there's no harm done. But that give me a shock and no mistake.
Oh, 11:30. Time I was off.
Mind you take your galoshes.
I don't.
And you won't be late for breakfast, will you?
Not if I can help it. But I'll be walking home, you know.
Walking? Why?
Well, I can't take my bike in this weather. So don't wait for me after 9.
All right. Have you got your scarf?
Aye, all set. Good night, Mother.
Good night, dear.
You'll find the £200 tied up in the middle of your bed, I expect, Dad.
Don't joke about it, son.
And a monkey hanging by his tail from the bedpost, watching you count your golden sovereigns.
Herbert.
Yeah?
Nothing. Good night, my boy.
Good night, Dad.
What's wrong?
Top bolted, stiff again. There. I must get Herbert to look at it in the morning.
Well, I'm off to bed. Will you see to the fire?
Yes, all right. Hey, Jenny!
What's the matter? John, what is it?
It's nothing. I just saw faces in the fire.
Oh. Well, come along to bed, dear. John, breakfast ready.
Right you are. No sign of Herbert yet?
No, he hasn't got his bicycle. He said not to wait after 9.
Oh, yes, I'd forgotten. Well, he's got a fine day for walking home. Cleared up nicely. Oh, by the way, where did you leave the monkey's paw last night?
On the mantelpiece. Still there. Silly, dirty thing. Spells, indeed.
Oh, Morris and his yarns. I suppose all old soldiers are the same.
The idea of our listening to such nonsense. How could wishes be granted nowadays?
Doesn't seem likely, does it?
And all the rubbish about it's making you unhappy if your wish was granted.
Ha! You've been thinking about it, have you?
No, of course not. But, how could £200 hurt anyone?
Well, I suppose it might drop on your head in a lump. Don't see any other way. Though, mind you, Morris said it would happen so naturally that you might take it for a coincidence if so disposed.
Well, it hasn't happened. That's all I know, and it isn't going to. What's that?
Postman, of course. Yes, there's a letter in the box.
A letter? Oh, John. Suppose...
Suppose what?
Suppose it's the £200.
Eh? Yeah, don't talk nonsense. What's got into you?
Nothing, I just thought...
Another bill, I expect.
No, it's not. It's quite thick. It's got something crisp inside.
Who's it for?
You.
Yeah, let me see. Hey, that's odd.
Well, go on, open it.
All right, don't get excited.
Take care, don't tear it, if it's banknotes.
Banknotes, fat chop.
Oh, looks like some kind of document.
And a slip of paper.
What does it say?
It says, Sir, enclosed, please find receipt for interest on the mortgages of £200 in your house duly received.
Well, that comes of listening to tipsy old soldiers.
What does?
You thought there was banknotes in it.
I did not. I said all along...
How Herbert will laugh when I tell him.
Well, you're not going to tell him. You're going to keep your mouth shut. That's what you're going to do. God, I never hear the last of it.
It serves you right for trying to frighten us last night.
What do you mean?
Saying the paw moved when you wished.
But it did. It did move. Now, that I'll swear to.
You thought it did.
No, I say it did. There was no thinking about it.
9:30. Herbert should be here by now, walking or not. He's off at 8.
Aye, but he has to change and wash before he leaves the plant.
Still, it shouldn't take him all this time. I'll look and see if he's coming down the road.
Your sausages are getting cold. See him?
No. But there's a man by the garden gate. Looks to be a gentleman.
And what about him?
He's looking at the house. He said he wants to come in. But he can't seem to make up his mind.
Oh, go on. You're full of fancies this morning.
No, he's going on. Now he's coming back.
Well, don't let him see you peep in.
John, he looks like a sort of lawyer.
Well, what of it?
Oh, you know. But Suppose he's coming about the £200.
Oh, nonsense. Come and eat your breakfast. Where is he now?
At the gate again. He's coming in. Oh, dear. And me all untidy.
What's the matter? He's made a mistake. Come to the wrong house.
Oh, I'll go and see who it is.
Is this Mr. White?
Yes, come in, sir.
Thank you.
Please step in. You must overlook me being so untidy.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Samson.
Won't you please be seated?
Thank you. No, I think not.
You, wanted to see me, sir?
Oh, yes. Yes, I've come from the electrical works.
Oh, then it's our son Herbert you want to see. He'll be home soon, if you care to wait.
No. I was asked to call. That is, the company sent me to...
Is anything the matter?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Herbert, what's happened? Is he hurt?
Now, Mother, don't jump to conclusions. Let the gentleman speak. You've not brought bad news, sir, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. White. There's been an accident at the plant.
Herbert, he's been hurt.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, John.
Badly hurt, sir?
Yes, very badly.
Is he in pain?
Oh, no, he's not in pain.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
But if he's badly hurt... Good God. You can't mean it.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Oh, my boy. Oh, no.
Go on, sir. What happened?
Well, he was telling his mates a story. Something that happened here last night. He was laughing about it and not paying attention, and the machinery caught him.
Oh,
no. The machinery caught him. I see.
The company wished me to convey their sincere sympathy with you in your great loss.
Great loss, yes.
And I was to say further.
He was our only child.
Please understand, I'm only the company's servant. I'm only obeying orders.
Yes. Machinery caught him.
I was to say the company disclaims all responsibility, but in consideration of your son's services, they wish to present you with a sum of money as compensation.
For our great loss. Hey, how much?
£200.
Oh, no.
200? Oh.
John!
This bolt gets stiffer every night. There. Well, that's that. Time we got to bed, Jenny. Jenny?
What?
I said it's time for bed. What are you doing at the window?
Looking up the road.
What for? You can't see anything.
Yes, I can. The moonlight's so bright you can almost see the cemetery.
Oh, Jenny, please come away from there. You'll get cold.
It's colder where he is.
Aye. Is it only a week since we laid him there?
I don't know.
We don't take much account of time now, do we?
Why should we? He'll never come home again. There's nothing to think about now.
Or to talk about.
He took all our hopes with him.
And our wishes.
Aye, and all our... John.
What on earth's the matter?
The paw. The monkey's paw.
What about it?
Where is it? What happened to it?
I don't know why.
You haven't done away with it?
I haven't seen it since...
Well, find it.
Well, it was here on the mantelpiece the last time I... Oh, yeah, here it is.
Oh, thank God. Why didn't I think of it before? Why didn't you think of it?
What are you talking about?
The other 2 wishes.
What?
We've only had one.
Oh, wasn't that enough, Jenny?
No. We'll have one more. Don't you see? We'll wish our boy alive again.
Good God, woman, are you bad?
We had our first wish granted. Why not our second?
Jenny, you don't know what you're saying. He's been dead for more than a week. When they showed him to me, I only knew him by his clothing. If you weren't allowed to see him then, how could you bear to see him now?
I don't care. Bring him back. Take the pawn wish.
No, I can't touch it.
You must. Here, take it. Now wish.
Jenny, please.
Wish.
Oh,
Wish.
God, forgive me. I wish my son alive again. Oh, what's happened? I can't see.
The candle's gone out.
But how could it? I didn't...
Wait. Listen.
Jenny, where are you?
At the window.
Shh. What do you see?
Nothing.
Oh, thank God.
Nothing at all. Along the whole length of the road, there's not a living thing. It's as empty as our lives.
We still have each other. And our memories.
Memories.
There now. Don't take on so. Here, I'll light the candle. And then we'll go up to bed. There. That's better, eh? Come along now, Mother.
I'm no longer a mother. Oh, Herbert. What's that?
Nothing. Just a rat in the wall.
It's Herbert. He's at the door.
Here, stop. What are you going to do?
I'm going to open it.
No, for God's sake.
Let me go. Why are you trying to hold me?
Jenny, I beg you, don't open the door.
I must. Let me go.
Think what we might see.
Do you think I'm afraid of my own child?
No,
Let me go.
No.
I'm coming, Herbert.
No,
I'm coming.
no, Jenny, don't do it. Oh, God, what can I do? What can I... The paw. The monkey's paw. There's one wish left. Now,
John, come and help me. I can't move the top.
Where
no.
is the paw? Where did I drop it?
John, help me, quick.
Where is the thing? In God's name, where did it fall?
Wait, Herbert. I'm trying to open it.
Must be here somewhere.
It's moving. It's moving.
Ah, here it is. I wish my son dead. I wish him dead. And at peace.
Herbert! There's no one here. There's nothing.
Thank God. Oh, thank God.
Mystery Theater has presented The Monkey's Paw by W. Jacobs, in radio version by John Bethune. Production and direction, Gene Bartels. In the cast, Cosette Lee as the mother, Alan King, the father, and Jim Bradford, Herbert the son. Glenn Morris was heard as Sergeant Major Morris, and Gilly Fennick, Sampson, the man from the electrical company. Sound effects were by Alex Sheridan, and technical operation, Henry Durda. This is Bill Lorne speaking.